In the last year, Victor has sold over 9,600 books for over $500,000. He's made $150,000 profit. If you're new to selling on Amazon or you want to grow your Amazon business, in today's video, we're going to be sharing 5 tips to scale your Amazon business from doing $500 a month profit to over $5,000 a month profit. Without further ado, let's dive into today's video. All right, what's going on, Victor? We got the man, the myth, the legend, man. Over $150,000 in profit selling books on Amazon in the last year. You've been doing this for over 7 years. Let's get into the first tip to be able to scale your business from $500 a month to over $5,000. What do you got?
Well, basically, what you have to do first off is basically analyze your business, right? So you are out there hustling. You are out there going to thrift store after thrift store, or you're sourcing on Keepa, and you are finally getting money, right? You are feeling successful. You're like, yes, I have made some money, and this is great. I can't believe it. But then soon enough, you'll start realizing, wait, but if I just keep doing the same exact thing over and over and over again, I've kind of limited myself. Like this is it. I'm only able to go to so many thrift stores. I'm only able to scan so many things. Like, yes, I can go and grind for a while, right? And go to a thrift store for like 14 hours a day, or I can go on Keepa and just be on there day and night. But at a certain point, you hit a cap, right? You only have so much time. So you got to step back for a second and realize, what are your most successful things you're doing? What are the things that are making you the most money? What are the things that are getting you the most profit? Like, write those down or start tracking that. Basically, that's what we're talking about. It's like, start tracking your business in general. When you go to this Goodwill, is it a Goodwill? Is it a good Goodwill? Like, are you making some good profit from it? Are you finding some good books or some good items from it, or not? If not, why are you going to it, right? Like, yes, you're making $500 a month. That's great, but let's go find the thrift stores that are making you at least $500 per store, and then start collecting more of those, right? So basically, the first thing up is you can't improve things unless you're starting to track it. So it doesn't have to be exactly item by item, but like, make a mental note. When you're going to this store, it's doing really well. When this one's not, cut that one off. When you're going to Keep It Deals, go, yes, like I stuck on my Keepa filters at 40%. Maybe I should have stuck it at 60%, right? Because between 40 and 60, I'm not really finding anything. So maybe I should have changed the Keepa filters and stuff like that. So basically, the more that you're able to track your business, the better you're able to improve it. So that's what I'm kind of going with it. I know, Steve, me and you kind of were started in a very similar way, where we kind of went thrifting initially. I went thrifting too. I used to sell on eBay also. So I know that hustle. I know it's there. And I think you kind of agreed to some of that first tip.
Yeah, absolutely. One exercise I had my mom do. So my mom, she's been selling books on Amazon for over 10 years. I mean, actually going over 11 years now. And one of the things that she did, I had her do years ago, is we purchased like a little tiny little notepad, like one of the little pocket notepads, and she would leave it in her car. And every time she would go to a thrift store, she would write down the day that she went, the time that she went, and then after she left, she would write down how much profit she made. And she did that for all the thrift stores. Now, she slowed down quite a bit. She's almost 70 years old now, but when she first started, she was traveling all around, and she did that for like a couple months, and she learned what were the best days, what were the best times, and which stores made the most profit. So that's just a little tip that really worked well for her, and anybody could do it.
Yeah, perfect. That's exactly what you should do, right? It doesn't need to be that official. You just need to step back and realize, where is your profit coming in, and focus in on those areas.
All right, Victor. Well, perfect. So number 1, everybody should analyze their business. What do we have for number 2 for folks who want to go from $500 a month profit to over $5,000? Heck, let's get to $10,000 a month.
Heck yeah. I mean, you can do that. So basically, now that you've tracked what you're doing, immediately cut off the last 20% of what you're doing, right? The 80-20 rule. And so any thrift store that's not producing, any store that you're going to and you're not finding profitable items, leave it. And you're like, well, I've just lost 20% of my profit. Yeah, but now you're able to focus in on the 80%, try to hone into that. Go find another place that beats all the rest of the places. That extra time that you now have, go try to find another thrift store. Go try to find another source that you can go in and actually make more profit than the current places that you're sourcing at. And that's exactly what you should be doing. Like for me, when I'm sourcing on Keepa and with books, I want to cut off any book that makes me like less than $10, right? And then soon enough, I want to only profit books that like making me $15 or more. And one of these days, I want to only buy books that are making me $20 or more, right? Because I value my time, and I only have so much time, so I want to keep raising that up to such a point that basically it only takes me a few minutes. I'm able to buy a ton of books, and then I'm able to go out about my day, with, just
Yeah.
enjoying life. So that is exactly what you should be doing. Think about cutting off anything that's underperforming and spend that time trying to find things that are beating what you're doing now.
Yeah, and that's why it's so important. Like some folks might be thinking, well, Victor, that sounds great,
Mhm.
but there's only so many books that I could find at the thrift store. And that's true. I mean, there's going to come a point where you don't have any more time, or you don't have like the ability to travel all around the state, or there might not be a lot of donations. That's why for everybody, you know, what you might have to do is take a step back and start learning about other ways to source. For me, I went into eBay to Amazon. It's very similar to what Victor does. Victor's
Right.
Amazon to Amazon. The reason why I went to eBay and, Victor went to Amazon, they're really the same thing. We went for the same reason. It's a
Mhm.
massive marketplace. So if you find yourself, not able to scale because you can't find enough and you can't cut it off, like you might be saying like, Victor, I can't like just leave books behind that are going to make $5 profit. There's only so many books. Well, that might be a sign that you might have to learn about other ways to source, whether it's library sales or putting out next door ads for free book pickups, or using Bookmine to source, or keep a deals, keep alerts. So I'm sure there's a deep rabbit hole we could go down there, but just wanted to throw that out there.
No, yeah, that's exactly right. That's why we both chose to go online, right? Because that's actually where the money's at. There's a ton of opportunities there all day long, and you can actually overperform what you're doing sourcing, manually, basically driving around and scanning at these thrift stores. Yes, you don't want to turn down a $5 book. I heard you, but you know how long it took you to drive to that store, get the scanner, scan the book. You still have to go take the book and go and prep it for yourself. All that takes time. When online, none all that is just done for you. All you have to do is just buy the book. So yes, we might still buy a book that makes you $5 in profit, but it takes me maybe 10, 15 seconds. Right? You saw, well, later on we're gonna show you Bookmine and in other videos, but basically all you do is just click on a book and buy it. It takes me 10, 15 seconds to buy that book, and I make $5 in profit for that book. So yeah, it's a completely different mindset. And basically that's the way to scale from 500 to 5,000, right? Because you need a whole different mindset than what you're currently doing.
Love it, man. Perfect.
Mhm.
So now that we've analyzed our business and we've kind of thought about all the different things we're doing and we're cutting off underperforming
Yeah.
tasks, what is tip number 3 to go from $500 a month profit to 5K and beyond?
Yeah, so I'm talking to a lot of resellers who are telling me that they are repricing their books themselves, right? And yeah, I mean, if you got like 50 books, I guess you can do that, right? You go in there every day and do that and price your books because they really feel that it's really important for them. But at a certain point, there's not much value in it to go in and price your books every day because yeah, you might get a few more cents here and there, but spend that time going to source more books, right? Because your value, the money you're bringing in is because you're able to source, not because you're able to reprice, right? So repricing is cool, but what you need to focus in on sourcing profitable items, not repricing. If you source really profitable items, the repricing will take care of itself. So basically, get an automated repricer. So yeah, Be Cool is awesome. I have no issue with Be Cool. That software is like $20 a month, $30 a month. And if you got quite a bit of books, it's like up to $50. But by the time you have to pay the $50 plan, you won't be worried about this at all. You'll have way more than $500 in profit. So yeah, start at the $20 plan with Be Cool and then grow with them. So yeah, basically you're hiring like a VA that just does repricing for you. They're pricing their books all the time, right? Be Cool, matter of fact, when I was using them, was pricing like every 15 minutes and was a few thousand times a day. So that's something I can't do, and for like $20 to $50, it's a no-brainer. So yeah, make sure you get an automated repricer and start repricing your books. And yeah, to the people who are complaining that the repricers are not doing what they should be doing and stuff like that, what I'm telling them is basically just buy the book cheaper and you won't have to worry about it. right? Because that's our job, is to buy items undervalued so we can sell them for their true value. So yeah, reprice is tip number 3.
Perfect. Awesome. All right, Victor. So let's get into tip number 4, which is something that I've implemented this year. I actually implemented a prep center in January of 2024. Before that, I was actually having trouble scaling my business because I was opening up all my boxes. I was prepping, I was listing, I was shipping, I was doing it all. And I hired a prep center company out of Ohio, and it changed the game for me, man. So let's talk about a prep center, what it is and how it can help folks, essentially 10X from 500 to 5,000.
Yeah, once you're past $500, you probably have a lot of items in your house, right? It's starting to overgrow your house, like it's starting to like overgrow your space. Basically, you're going to have a ton of books here or a ton of different items all around, and you're going to not really like your space anymore. It's almost going to become like a negative area because there's just so much books around you, and you always feel like you have to list and ship and stuff like that. So yeah, that once you get to $500 in profit, it's time to go to a prep center. I'm surprised. I did a poll in my Facebook group. More than like 60-70% of them don't have a prep center. And I'm just in disbelief. How are you doing this without a prep center trying to scale, right? Because a book that a prep center is prepping for you is like $2. Like that means that they're going to open the book. They're actually opening the book. They're going to grade the book. They're going to put a sticker on it. They're going to ship it to Amazon, all for $2. This is crazy. This is like magic, right? And there are people out there that are like, oh, I want to do it myself. And I'm like, you're really losing out on time that you could be sourcing.
People are scared. That's the thing. I mean, there's a lot of, how do I say it? There's a lack of information, I would say, about prep centers, and the people who do share it don't really talk about it, or they make it sound like it's really scary, or maybe you hear the horror stories. Like, for example, a couple people in my community, we had a meetup last year in Oklahoma, and a couple people who were there talked about how a prep center just stopped shipping everything out. It was a horror story. One of the guys showed up to the prep center and saw like 100,000 packages sitting in front of the, I'm just making up that number, but there's like thousands of boxes piled up in front of the prep center. So I think it's like a lack of knowledge, or it's almost like a fear of like, it's like a lack of control. Like resellers, they want to like be able to physically touch it and ship it and like control the whole process. So I guess my question for you is, what advice would you give to folks out there who are like, you know what, maybe they're transitioning to OA, or, E to A or whatever. And they're just like, man, like I'm just scared. I know the margins are there, but I'm scared to lose that control.
So what I would say is you're already losing control when you ship your item to Amazon, right? It actually goes into an Amazon fulfillment center, and you're willing to do that. So this is just the next step, right? Basically, we're just streamlining things. We are basically hiring an employee to do what the parts we don't really like to do, right? We don't really like to prep and ship our books. I don't know about, the most exciting part for me is sourcing. I think the same thing with you, Steve, right? We're both like hustlers, right? We just love finding undervalued items. So the parts that we don't really like to do, let's just automate that. Let's just send that out. Let's get a prep center. It took me about 6 months. I had one great season. So I did the January textbook season on my own. I prepped all my books. I shipped them all out to Amazon and did FBA that way, and then started building for the August textbook season. And I started getting more and more books, right? Because it's sourcing time, like May, June, and July. So I'm starting to get a ton of books, and my wife is like, all right, either we got to move or you got to find somewhere else for these books. Like this, we can't just continue to have this. And so it took me about 6 months, and I contacted the same company you did. And, now with 7 years ago, and basically been working with that same company. So yeah, just basically get a prep center. I've never looked back. As soon as I realized what they were able to do and how easy it was, I haven't touched a book in almost 7 years now. So yeah, it's by far, out of our tips, I don't know, it's probably one of the best ones out there, because it's helped me continue. Like if I had to continue to prep my own books, I don't think I'd be here. I wouldn't be doing this with this. I wouldn't be in books anymore, because that's the part I don't like. I'd be disappointed to see all these books over here on the far right, just sitting there and not wanting to do this business, because the part that I'm really excited about is sourcing books. So
Yeah, and we'd both be single as well. No,
Yeah. Oh, yes,
seriously,
that's
like
right.
my girlfriend moved in with me and I don't think she realized like what she was in for before I had a prep center. I mean, I had sometimes 50, 100 packages showing up at my house. And I mean, I posted pictures on social media. I mean, there was one time I left for 2 weeks and I kept my team buying. And my mom, she lives right down the street. She was bringing all
Yeah.
the packages in. I mean, I could have built a whole nother house out of the boxes. I mean, my whole living room was filled. And yeah, long story short, just take the first step, guys. Just find a prep center. I use Little Owl Prep. Are you using them as well?
Yeah, I didn't know if we wanted to release that, but yeah, I mean, yes, we both use Little All Prep. They're a great company. I've been with them since they just started, right? Since the owner was in his garage. So great company, great bookseller. He was a bookseller when he first started, so he knows how to prep books. I guess maybe close to half his customers are still booksellers. So yeah, that's definitely a great company. Contact them. I mean, it's not hard. Literally just write them and be like, hey, I'm interested in working with your company. And then they'll be like, okay, here's the address that you need to send your books to. Make sure you put your name on top. And that's it. And then you go to your eBay or Amazon and change the address from your address to your house to that prep center, and you're done. That's the whole thing. It's not hard, and it's kind of amazing that there's a ton of sellers that still aren't doing it.
Yeah, and if you can't get into Little Owl Prep, because I know they had some things going on recently, they
Yeah,
downsized a little bit. Not to get into all the details, but it was things that were outside of their control with like
right.
the landlord or whatever. But if you can't get into Little Owl Prep, tell them Steve and Victor sent you, so maybe that'll help. But if not, who's the girl who's coming to Books and Beyond? What's her name again?
Central Virginia Prep, and her name is Shanna.
Yeah, Central Virginia
Virginia
Prep.
Prep.
Her name is
Yeah,
Shanna.
yeah.
Shanna and the owner of Little Owl Prep, they're going to be coming to our conference actually going down. If you didn't know, Victor and I, plus Avery Martin over at Romer the Romer and
Mhm.
Joji Davenport, we're hosting a bookseller conference. So if you're doing thrifting, library sales, eBay to Amazon, Amazon to Amazon, if you want to learn how to scale your business, definitely check out Books and Beyond. It's going down in September and
Yep.
it's going down in Las Vegas. So I'm pumped up. We should have probably 100 to 200 people there, Victor, man. So
When we have all different types of booksellers, this is kind of crazy. We all came up with this idea this year, and the amount of booksellers we're going to get from all different types of parts of the book market and eBay to Amazon. It's crazy that we're doing this, and yeah, get to meet us all in person. I think it's a really great event.
yep.
You got to come. Like you guys got to come visit us, come meet us. We want to meet you guys too. So
Yeah, and it's not just for booksellers. Like
yeah,
books are
exactly.
probably like less than 10% of my inventory. I sell electronics, tools, DVDs, office supplies, and I have quite a few of my students coming as well and people who do things outside of books. But many of the principles and things we share are going to be focused on books, but also a lot of other categories as well. At least, in my talk, I've got a friend coming, Seth, Checkmate Flips. He's doing $100,000 months. So yeah, come hang out with us. But with that being said, let's get into tip number 5. So we've talked about number 1, analyze your business. Number 2, cut off underperforming tasks. Number 3, add a repricer or
Repricer.
reprice more often, or,
Mhm.
just make sure you have a method in place so you can spend more time sourcing, add a prep center. And then number 5, I know this is one of my favorites on the list. Let's dive into it, Victor.
It's our secret. It's our secret tip, which basically means what you need to do is once you get past $500, you need to start adding some software to your list, right? Basically, you need to start automating a few things. So one of them being, of course, Keepa's first up. But then immediately after that, of course, the software me and Joji made, Bookmine, and the replaying catcher that you have, Steve. I mean, that is also a golden things like that. Where basically what we're doing now is we have so much capital because we're just bringing in all this capital, and we're still taking the same amount of time to source items. Well, let's shrink the amount of time it's taking us because now we have more capital. And one of the ways to do that is by adding in some additional powerful software programs, and Bookmine being one of them. And basically, what you want to do is now that if you were to subscribe to Bookmine, now you're able to source, say, 50 to 100 books a day when on with Keepa. With that, if you wanted to do 50 to 100 books a day, that is almost an entire day's worth of work. Maybe 10 hours, 8 to 10 hours worth of work. Seriously, you're having to go through book after book after book because it's that challenging. You're having to stay on it all day. But with Bookmine, what it is that all that those challenges have really been taken away, and you can mostly do this within an hour.
Yep.
I have students that are sourcing 100 books a day and are already bringing in much more than I'm selling with Bookmine. So it's definitely a powerful tool. And you're gonna get me and Joji, you're gonna get Steve, you're gonna get people who are out willing to help you out with that software, right? Because yes, I can help you out with Keepa, but it's like helping you out, ride a bike or something, or like a bike when there's a car available. Right? Yeah, I can show you how to go on a bike, and we're going to do it, and you're going to make the first $500 that way, and that's great. But if you really want to start scaling this business, you want to go to the next level. And so when you talk to Steve, he's gonna help you. Like, I think your replan catcher is awesome. Like, you give people, hey, here are actually replans that I'm going to provide you first up that you can go ahead and start sourcing from right now, and then from there, here's just replan from this list. And it's the same thing with Bookmine. Here are the 3,000 most profitable books updated every hour. All you got to do is show up whenever you have time. Give 1 hour to Bookmine a day, and you're going to scale to $5,000 in profit. Same thing with Replan Catcher. So these are definitely smart things to do. And let's give one more shout out to Avery with his go-to lister. I mean, I think that is a great way. If you are just starting with that $500, or you decided that you haven't wanted to do a prep center just yet, go-to lister is awesome. It helps you organize everything that you're doing. So again, these softwares alone will really help you scale your business. And so yeah, that's tip number 5. Yes, we're all part of we're all doing some type of software, but I think it's just really the smartest way to go. It's the next step, right? Because I don't know, I haven't talked to anybody actually who is making more than a few $1,000s a month that doesn't have software, right? Because software is what gets you to the next level. It's like trying to cut your grass with just a pair of scissors, right? No, you need a lawnmower, right? You need the next step, right? And so it's that same type of thing when you're wanting to upgrade what you're doing. You need software, and we luckily have software available. So yeah, that's tip number 5, and I think it's just really smart. I don't know, what do you think, Steve?
Yeah, man. I mean, the big thing I got from that outside of software is transitioning to a method where you could source more products. And, this sounds like a broken record, but, for anyone who's new, I actually recommend starting without software. I actually recommend going into the thrift store, grinding, hitting the pavement, thrifting, library sales. That's not very scalable. Like, it's really hard to actually do 5 to 10K a month with that method if you're not putting in like full-time 40, 50, 60 hours. But that's where you want to start. And I always say within 3 to 6 months, once you learn how to sell on Amazon, you learn how to source, and you start to build capital, then what you want to do is start leveraging that capital so you can invest it into sourcing softwares, listing softwares, repricing softwares, into Bookmine, and really into online arbitrage. Because again, at the end of the day, when we're sourcing from eBay to Amazon or Amazon to Amazon, we're able to source from millions of sellers. Whereas when you go to a thrift store, yeah, the margins are absolutely insane, but you're fighting with a million other resellers with scanners, and there's only so much available, right? So once you earn the capital, people always say, once you make money, you want to get the money to work for you. And that's essentially what we're doing. We're not saying it's easy. We're not saying you're going to get rich overnight, but you don't have to be working in your business 60 hours a week. I mean, I've been doing this for 10 years, Victor. I've been doing eBay to Amazon for 3 years. I spend 2 hours a week now in my business. And I'm doing
awesome.
$70,000, $80,000 months.
Yeah, no, that's crazy. We're making more money with less work, right? Because we're utilizing those software programs to get us the money that we're desiring for less of our own time. So it's a really smart way to go. I think it's just it's a no-brainer. So.
Cool. Well, thank you so much, Victor, for coming on the channel and sharing those tips. If anybody wants to be able to chat with Victor, ask a question, learn more about Bookmine, just learn about selling books, textbook arbitrage, check out his Facebook group. So I'll link that down below. And just a little secret for everybody, he's always sharing leads in that group from time to time. Victor's made me quite a bit of money on some leads that he shared, and it's free, 100% free.
It is 100% free.
Yep. Check out his Facebook group. Yeah. Appreciate you guys. Smash that like button. Show some love. Victor, thanks for coming on, man.
Thank you.